Hi everyone, it's James here. Welcome to another video. So today I'm going to do a very belated response to Richard McCook, 10 more questions for the vinyl community. Richard did this thread a while ago, and it was during a little hiatus that I was having from the vinyl community and from YouTube, so I wasn't able to join in, but I seem to be back now, so I thought I would jump in. So here we go, 10 questions. I'll try and keep these as brief as I can. So number one, do you ever get disheartened when a video you think should be popular is ignored? And if yes, give an example. Well, yeah, I think it's fairly understandable that anybody would feel disappointed if they'd made a video and hardly anybody watched it. I mean, I do okay for views these days. I've been around in the VC and on YouTube for about 6 years, so I hardly ever get a video which is kind of a complete clunker. It's interesting, I always think that the more you invest in a video and the more you want people to watch it, the less they're likely to, in my experience, you know. But occasionally you do get some strange results. Like a couple of years ago, I decided to finally talk about Beck, who was an artist that I was really into back in the 90s, and I'd held off from talking about him for so long because I wanted to get the video right. I wanted to somehow express or encapsulate what I felt about him and to go on a little roller coaster ride, I suppose. And that video did really poorly compared to other videos that I've done where I wouldn't have expected them to get anything like those kind of views. I've made videos about Andy McMaster from the Motors. It's one of my most watched videos. Thomas Dolby was another one I did. I didn't think that many people would be interested in, and that got good viewing figures as well. It's very strange. One that springs to mind, I'd held off from showing my jazz vinyl collection for such a long time, probably about 3 or 4 years, until I showed my jazz records. And I was aware that there was a sort of interest in jazz on the vinyl community, lots of people showing jazz. And I don't have a very big jazz collection, but I've got some quite nice things. And I did a three-part video on my jazz records, and I really expected those videos to do pretty well, given the level of interest in jazz, and hardly anybody watched those videos really, and that did kind of surprise me. I think one thing you have to bear in mind is that when you start a channel, when you start doing YouTube, VC or whatever, people get a handle on what they think you're offering, and therefore you build up an audience based on that. And I think if you try and step outside that, you sometimes end up making videos that don't get the reaction you expect them to. In my case, when I first started, there was a very sort of heavy emphasis on British rock and the Beatles and Paul McCartney and Pink Floyd and all that kind of British rock scene. So my interpretation is that when I stepped outside that and showed my jazz records, there was a general reaction of like, oh, well, if we want to see jazz records, we'll go and see this person or that person, and we'll go and see James when we want to hear about, whatever, Pink Floyd. But I wouldn't say I was sort of disappointed as such, but surprised. How often do you check your subscriber count? I don't check it as such, but I do keep a notice of it. I do, each time I go on, my eyes will look down and see how many I've got. I don't think that means very much anymore. Quite a few people have said this. I think it's more about the views and the conversations that you have in the comments that is more meaningful to me. When it comes to subs, I think at the moment I'm heading up towards 3,000, which is fantastic. I mean, I never thought I would have that many, but the closer I think you get to a particular landmark, or this is what I find, the more interested you get. So when you're stranded, somewhere between, I don't know, 100 and 200 or 1,000 and 2,000, if you're just kind of in that kind of wilderness in the middle, you don't pay too much attention. But as you start to creep up towards the next mark, you start to get more interested. And I've been stranded between 2,000 and 3,000 subscribers now for years, and so I've kind of lost interest. But now it's starting to creep up to 3,000. I think I'm about maybe 40 subs away from 3,000. So now I'm actually taking an interest and kind of watching, and then once I get past 3,000, if I do, I'll get lost in the wilderness again between 3,000 and 4,000. I mean, I might never get to 4,000. It's taken me years to get from 2,000 to 3,000. So yeah, it kind of comes and goes really. Like I said, I don't think even necessarily that the people who subscribe to my channel watch my channel, so I just, I don't know. And perhaps the people who watch are not subscribers. Number 3, how often do you ask people to hit the subscriber button? Every video, occasionally, almost never. Well, I don't do it anymore, and I don't remember if I ever did it. I suspect I probably did do it when I was starting out, because when you start out with a channel, you do want to get subscribers and views. So I probably, if I was to look back at my old videos, I would probably find that I did used to do it, but I don't think I've done it for a long time. How do you feel when you lose subscribers, and what is the largest amount you've lost in one day? I think I've lost some in the last couple of days. I noticed my tally had gone up and then gone down again. I don't really feel anything really. I'm not that fussed. And I've no idea what's the largest amount I've lost in one day. How do you feel when people comment on your video and they obviously haven't watched it? For example, a comment comes in for a 15-minute video 1 minute after it's been uploaded. Uh, I don't know how I feel about that, really. It's a bit strange, isn't it? I mean, one thing I do when I'm watching somebody else's video, because I've got quite a bad short-term memory, I will often leave comments as I go. So say there's a 10-minute video, somebody says something interesting in the first minute, I will write that comment and send that comment in. And then once I've finished the video, I got a bit further into the video, I go back in and add something to that comment and kind of, edit as I go along. So I'm actually guilty of doing that. And I know that some people find that annoying. I think the channel maker would probably rather wait until I have got all my comments together and then, do them all in one fell swoop, but that's not really how my mind works. I do sometimes find it annoying when somebody in the comments asks a question, and I think to myself, if they'd watched the video, they wouldn't need to answer that question. A classic example is where you're showing, say you're showing a cross-section of records by a particular artist. You show 3 or 4 records, and then you show some more records later on. And then in the comments, somebody will say something like, oh, what do you think of this album? And it's one of the ones that you showed later on. So it becomes obvious that they only watched the first few minutes. I mean, it's not annoying. I mean, it's completely up to them what they want to watch. But I guess at that point, I have to then reply to them, and I have to make up my mind to say, I've either got to say at that point, you clearly didn't watch the whole video or you wouldn't be asking that question, which sounds a bit arsey, or I have to go to the trouble of answering the question, which is also a pain in the neck because I've already explained it in the video, and why didn't they just watch the whole video? If you already have hit the 1K sub count, will you monetize your channel? And if you are eligible for the thanks option, will you promote it? I've no idea what the thanks option is. No idea what that is. Now, when it comes to monetization, I have monetized in the past, and the reason for that is I had a couple of reasons for it. The first reason, I had this idea that if you monetize your videos, they would become more visible. Now, I've no idea if that's true or not. That's not based on any research or anything. I just figured, I think sometimes it's because some of the bigger channels have been monetized. So you think to yourself, maybe those channels are as big as they are because they're monetized, and therefore if I monetize, maybe my channel will get bigger. And I suppose that does reveal that I do want my channel to be, of a reasonable size. But I don't like adverts in my videos. I don't like seeing adverts in other people's videos. I don't appreciate it. If I'm watching a video, particularly on the vinyl community, I don't like having to sit through an advert and wait. I do find it a bit discourteous, really. And for that reason, I've experimented with monetization, and then I've kind of retreated from it. That's just so that I could maybe claw back some of the money that I endlessly spend on records, but I've never made anything from YouTube, really. I don't think I've ever even made enough, to receive a payout, so it's a bit of a waste of time, really. Do you ever sub to another channel just to try and get a sub back? And when you do sub other channels, approximately what percentage do you hit the notification bell? I don't hit the notification bell very often unless I've missed a couple of videos, which does happen. Sometimes some of my favorite channels will do a video, I'll miss it for some reason, so then I'll go back and click the bell. I'm not sure if it helps or not. Do you ever sub to get a sub back? I used to. In the early days when you were straggling around trying to find a way of getting subscribers, I would go and subscribe to somebody, watch their videos for a bit, try and strike up a conversation. Not in a sort of mercenary way. I would try and build bridges and try and build relationships with other YouTubers in the spirit of, I've always seen it as a reciprocal space. I'll watch your content and engage with you, and in return you can watch my stuff and engage with me, and then we're all happy together, aren't we? But not anymore. I don't go looking for subscribers anymore by clicking on people. How long do you think it is an acceptable time to wait before replying to a comment, if you reply to comments? I don't think there's an acceptable window, really, other than maybe a couple of weeks. I must admit, I'm not as assiduous with it as I used to be. I get quite a lot of comments on videos now, which is good. I mean, that's what I want. Sometimes I could be in the mood just to answer immediately. Other times, if the comment is quite an interesting comment, if the comment just says enjoyed the video, whatever, I'll just give it a thumbs up. If it's just a sort of, basic comment, it's a bit more than that, I will give it an immediate reply. If it's a kind of longer, more interesting comment and one that needs my attention, I will probably park it and go back to it when I've got headspace to actually answer it properly. But I'm not quite as on the ball as I used to be with my comments, and it's not unusual nowadays for me to leave it a few days or even up to a couple of weeks sometimes before I go back and kind of answer everything. I do try and answer all the comments that I get before I upload the next video, but I sometimes do fail on that as well, but I do my best with it. Do you like Record Store Day? And if so, after buying Record Store Day items, do you feel the need to show them immediately, or can you wait to get home and open them before showing? I've never bought any Record Store Day records. I think I bought one after the event. It was an Idle Race one that I got in an auction on eBay or something, but no, I don't do Record Store Day really. I'm not that interested in doing that. I'd much rather go to Oxfam and try and find some old scratchy old records, There's a couple of things that if they came up in Record Store Day, I would be definitely interested in getting them. There's records that I would like to own, and if they came up in Record Store Day, I would be very tempted to, get in the queue. But as of yet, I've not seen anything that I'm too bothered about. Do you participate in watching collaboration videos, but do you get put off watching if they go on beyond the 1 or 2 hour mark? I tend to watch discussion videos in chunks, really. If somebody uploads, say, a 1 hour one, I'll watch some with my breakfast in the morning. I'll go back and watch some at lunchtime, and then I'll go back and watch some more in the evening. And I'd be surprised if other people didn't do that, not just with discussion videos, but with other kinds of videos, I've never quite got this idea of like, oh dear, this video is really long, therefore I can't watch it. It's like, well, it's not like the TV. You can just watch a bit of it and then go back and watch a bit of it and go back and watch a bit of it. Discussion videos are a funny one. I absolutely get why a lot of people don't watch them. I think there's something slightly disconcerting, isn't there, about watching 2 people or 3 people having a conversation and you're not part of it. That's very different, I think, from being the audience and watching one person talking to camera, because then you feel like they're addressing you and you're kind of part of it. In a discussion video, it's very different. It's almost like you're kind of eavesdropping on these people having a conversation. When I do my discussion videos, I desperately try and look at the camera as much as I can, but I always end up forgetting and looking at the person I'm talking to. What was the question again? So I certainly do enjoy participating in them. I do enjoy watching them as long as it's a topic which interests me. In general, when it comes to who watches what and, being disappointed that people haven't watched or not watched in sufficient numbers, I think there's nothing you can do about that. I think people will watch what they watch. They will only engage with things that they want to engage with. And sometimes it might not be that they're not interested. It might just be that they've not got time. I certainly do that. I even see things come on TV that I know I would be interested in, but I just forget to watch them. So it's no big deal, really. It's just that's what people do. And I think there's no point in getting het up about that. I think whoever watches. And if you're getting a few views and comments on your channel, I think you're doing well, I'm going to cut in here because I completely forgot to answer the bonus question, and this is the best question in the whole batch actually, and it's just do you check your previous video to make sure that you're not going to be wearing the same shirt when you do a new video? Now this is a good question. In the past, I have done videos in various states of sartorial disrepair. I've done videos with ketchup down my chin, with stains on my shirt. The real clincher was years ago. I managed to do a video. I used to wear a hat, more like a kind of pork pie hat, and I managed to do an entire video. And then I watched it back, and there was a sock wedged into the hat band. And to this day, I've still got no idea how it got there, but I did manage to do a whole video with a sock stuck in my hat band. And yes, I did redo the video. Anyway, so I don't know when it was, a few years back, I decided to pretty much always wear the same clothes in my videos. Now, ironically, tonight, I've not done that. I'm not wearing one of my 3 main shirts. So those eagle-eyed amongst you will know these shirts. So 2 of the 3 are actual work shirts, shirts I wear for work, and therefore I know that they're always going to be clean and well kept, reasonably. So this is my first YouTube shirt, and you'll have seen that one lots of times. It's a kind of dark green affair. That was a gift, I think, from my mother-in-law. And then this is the other one. This is my main work shirt that I wear, and I do wear that one sometimes in videos too. You'd have seen that one. This third one is my favorite shirt for making YouTube videos. This is the one that I wear pretty much in every, in most of the discussion videos I've done. This is my discussion shirt, and it is a kind of Hawaiian number, black with various sort of exotic things on. You can see a turtle there and palm trees and fish. So yeah, that's those are my 3 VC shirts, my 3 YouTube shirts, and like I said, ironically, I'm not wearing them this evening, but yes, hope that answers that question. And then there was probably another question too, but mine's gone blank. I think I've rambled on long enough, so I think I'll leave it there. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll be back soon for another video. Take care. Bye-bye.